Hi, this is Julia in my studio at Desert Home Music, and welcome back to our 24th weekly warm-up. This is the week of July 12th, 2021, and as always, we'll be using resources from thefullvoice.com in addition to my own stock to put together a vocal warm-up for you. So let's get started. Our first exercise today goes up as a triad, do, mi, so, and then walks back down in steps or seconds, fa, mi, re, do. Let's give it a try. 1, 2, ready, go. Do, mi, so, fa, mi, re, do. 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 Excellent. Let's go back down the semitones, same exercise, but this time we're going to sing la la la. 1, 2, ready, go. La 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 last one. La 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 la. Excellent work. Remember when you're singing la to try to keep your tongue relaxed inside your mouth so that it's not lifting up at the back or at the front and getting in the way at all. Our next exercise is a tongue twister. All set? Here we go. Real rock wall, real rock wall, real rock wall, real rock wall, real rock wall. Excellent. Our next exercise has that familiar arpeggio pattern, do, mi, so, mi, do. But this one has two different articulation markings. The beginning of it, do, mi, so, do, is legato, and then so, mi, do, coming back down staccato. Ready? Let's try. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, go. Do, mi, so, mi, do. Excellent. Do, mi, so, mi, do. 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 Fantastic work. And here we have another tongue twister. Are you ready? This is a long one. Are you ready? Are you ready? This is a long one. Any noise annoys an oyster, but a noisy noise annoys an oyster most. Any noise annoys an oyster, but a noisy noise annoys an oyster most. Any noise annoys an oyster, but a noisy noise annoys an oyster most. Any noise annoys an oyster, but a noisy noise annoys an oyster most. Any noise annoys an oyster, but a noisy noise annoys an oyster most. Whew! That's a tough one. For me, anyway. Our last exercise today is still an arpeggio, but it's going in the opposite direction. So we're starting from high do, going down through so, mi, so, do. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, go. Do, so, mi, so, do. 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 Excellent work. Let's move on to the lesson portion of our video, where we'll continue talking about eighth notes and add some eighth rests and single eighth notes to the mix. Last week, we talked about eighth notes and how to count them, where we were counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and for each one of those eighth notes that are a half a beat long. All of the eighth notes we looked at last week, though, were barred eighth notes. So they were in pairs or even in quadruplets, 2 or 4 of them connected together by a bar at the top. But what happens if you only want one eighth note for your rhythm? That's what we're going to talk about today. When eighth notes are grouped together, usually in groups of 2 or of 4, although not always, there's a bar across the top that's a thicker line. But a single eighth note has what's called a flag. I kind of like to think of it as though the 2 eighth notes, when they're hanging out together, when they have a friend, they hold hands, and that bar goes across the top. But if they don't have a friend to hold hands with, the bar just sort of falls down to their side, and it makes a flag. Single eighth notes are still counted as 1 and 2 and. It's just you wouldn't have both of them. You might have 1 and, or 2 and. And I already made that rest marking. So as we know, all of the different kinds of notes, or almost all of the different kinds of notes, have an equal sized rest. And this is what the rest looks like for an eighth note. This is an eighth rest. Just like an eighth note, an eighth rest is a rest for 1/2 of one beat. And again, is still just counted 1 and 2 and. So let's look at this 1-bar rhythm, and we'll try clapping it together, okay? We have an eighth note and an eighth rest, followed by 2 quarter notes, and then an eighth rest and an eighth note. So here are the counts for that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, let's try it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Got it? Excellent. And once again, I come back to you after a couple of days because I ran out of time to film. So here we are. Let's try a couple of more examples using single eighth notes and eighth rests. Okay, here's another example. We're in 4/4 time. So there will be 4 quarter note beats in a measure, which would also be 8 eighth notes. All right, so our first measure is 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. Let's do that together. 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. Excellent. The next measure has a quarter note, a quarter rest, then an eighth note, an eighth rest, another eighth note, and another eighth rest. 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. Try that one together. 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. Great. Last measure. 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. See how the eighth rest is just before that last eighth note? All right, let's do that one together. 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. Perfect. Now let's put the whole thing together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. Should we try it again? Sure. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. Perfect, fantastic. Let's look at one more example before we move on to doing some with singing. We have a quarter note, 2 eighth notes barred together, and then a single eighth note and a single eighth rest. Now we're in 3/4. 1, 2, and 3 and. Let's try it together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3 and. Then in the next measure, we have a quarter note, and then eighth note, eighth rest, eighth note, eighth rest. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3 and. Let's try that together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3 and. Perfect. Next one, last measure. We have a quarter rest and 4 eighth notes. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3, and. Fantastic. All right, let's put that whole thing together. Ready? 1, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and. That one almost tricked me. Now let's try sight singing a couple of exercises. These ones also have eighth notes and eighth rests, but of course we're going to add some singing, but not right away because we are going to use our regular sight singing protocol to get all of those sight singing bits right. First of all, we're going to look and see if there's anything weird or unusual in the passage that we're looking at. Okay, I'm looking at this first one. It's asking me what is my starting note. Well, I'm in the key of C, so C would be do. So that starting note is a G, and that would be so. We're also in 3/4 time, and we have an eighth note rest. So the second question that they're asking, what is this? It's an eighth note rest. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to clap the rhythm, just like we did with the previous exercises. So let's start at the beginning, and we're going to clap this rhythm. The first measure, quarter note, eighth, eighth, quarter. The second measure, quarter, rest, quarter. The third measure is the only one with the single eighth note and an eighth rest. 1 and 2 and 3. All right, let's try that whole thing all together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Perfect. Now we're going to sing all of the notes that we're going to need in this exercise. So we're in the key of C. So C is do, and we go all the way up to la in this exercise. So let's sing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Try that again. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Fantastic. Now let's jump up to so, and we'll sing the first 2 measures before we get to the weird rhythm. So the first 2 measures are going to go so, so, la, so, fa, re. Try that with me. So 1, 2, 3. So, so, la, so, fa, re. So far, so good. Let's sing that one more time, just so we're sure. 1, 2, 3. So, so, la, so, fa, re. And again, as we talked about one other time, I'm taking a breath on that rest just so that I make sure that I leave space for it. And then the last 3 notes are going to be mi, fa, re, do. Mi, fa, re, do. Try that measure with me. 1, 2, 3. Mi, fa, re, do. Fantastic. Let's do that whole exercise together. Don't forget your rests. 1, 2, 3. So, so, la, so, fa, re, mi, fa, re, do. Awesome work. All right, we're going to do one more exercise today, and then we're all done. This last exercise is also in 3/4. And actually, the last measure is the same as in the previous one. Mi, fa, re, do. Mi, fa, re, do. So that'll make it a little bit easier, won't it? But this one, the starting note, is going to be E or mi. All right, so this one is going to go mi, mi, re, do, so, do, mi, fa, re, do. Very, very similar to the previous one, but a little bit different, just to mess with your head. All right, let's first of all clap that rhythm and maybe say the names of the notes along with it. 1, 2, 3. Mi, mi, re, do, so, do, mi, fa, re, do. All right, now let's try it with the notes. 1, 2, 3. Mi, mi, re, do, so, do, mi, fa, re, do. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Mi, re, do, so. Do, mi, fa, re, do. Awesome work. Thanks again for all of your hard work. It's so great that you keep coming back every single week to do the weekly warm-ups with me. That's awesome. I really appreciate it. Also, have a fantastic week this week. I'm going on vacation, so that's going to be really fun. And I hope to see you real soon, either at your lesson or in the next video. In the meantime, keep singing.